again, YouTube. It's been a little bit, but I'm back again. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man, and today we're going to work on some fuel system problems, I guess you'd call them, on a few tractors. And before we do that, I'll take you around and give you some updates on a few other things that people are always asking about in comments and email and things. So we'll go take a look at that, and then we'll come back here and start with the 770. Several people have asked about the 1955, and as you can see, I got the cab off of it, but I need to get back on this project. I want to get the motor apart and at least send some of the stuff to the machine shop one of these days. So hopefully one of the next videos coming up will be tearing into this. People have also asked about the purple 1850, and here it is since you've last seen it. I'm planning on doing another video on it pretty soon and explaining some more about it, but I'm kind of in the stage of gathering together more parts. I've got about everything I need to work on it, but anyway, I'll make a video just about this and explain some of what I've got here. A lot of this stuff is just set in here, and the grill and the dash are just bolted down temporarily. I need to do more work cleaning out bolt holes and stuff before I put it together. I'm not sure if I want to paint as I go or assemble it and get it running and then take it back apart and paint it. I'm not sure yet. So anyway, I'll make a video on that one of these days too. Here's another farm update that happened just the other day. This little girl was born. So she's about ready to go out, her and mom, with the rest of the herd. She had kind of a tummy ache when she was born, so anyway, that's the way that is. So I think I got her doctored up and they're about ready to go out again. This is actually the mother is my first cow that I had years ago, and I know that because when I went and put the ear tag in, she ripped it out, so she's got a notch in her ear. So anyway, new baby, that's always exciting, and like I said, getting pretty active, so about ready to go out and join the rest of the family out there. Another update, lazy dog laying in the sun. Got to come over and see me. Wherever I am, he goes. So I guess we'll get some tools and then we'll come back here and start working on our projects. Well, I thought I heard something. It looks like Santa Claus brought me my Christmas present early this year. A whole trailer load of coal. I must be doing better though, because last year I got 2 trailer loads of coal, so I guess I was a good boy this year. Okay, so the problem we're having here with the 770 is that the sediment bowl is plugged up with rust in the neck that screws into the tank. And I've had this trouble with it 2 or 3 times already, and I guess I'm gonna have to just put up with it until it finally gets it out of its system, because I cleaned the tank when I got the tractor, or tried to get everything out of it, but it's like, I think what it's doing is it's just shaking some rust loose or something every so often, and then it gets down in there and you can only run it a few feet and then it dies. So the worst part of this is we got to take all the sheet metal off to get to it, and then try to get that out of there without losing a bunch of fuel. So we'll get started on it. so usually what I do is I try to wedge a plastic ice cream bucket or something under here to try to catch the fuel, but with this power booster in here, there's really not enough room for me to do that and get my hand in. So I'm gonna have to just try to get it out of there and put the plug in real quick without making too much of a mess. So we'll get the fuel line loose and then start taking that out. Well, I'm trying to get some good shots for you of me doing this, but it's really hard without bumping the camera and doing this, so just bear with it. Okay, so we got that loose. Hold it there. Now it's going to be the messy part, so somewhere. Always keep some pipe plugs around the same size as the threads of the sediment bowl, because you will have to take these out every so often, so that's what I do. I keep them around. I'll get you out of the way here somewhere and then get that out of there, because the camera will get wet if I leave it right here. So I'll move you back a little bit. Okay, so I don't know if we go out here in the sun, we can see maybe, but that neck is totally plugged with rust and stuff. I don't think I can get a good view on it. Maybe there you go, you can kind of see some of it, but we need to clean that out so fuel can get through. So that's what we'll do now. Now you can see there's a little bit of trash in the bowl, but that's the fine stuff that was able to make it through. So we got some bigger chunks, I'm sure, in the neck, so that's what we'll work on. So get you a nice hard surface and then just start by tapping. You can see all the stuff that we just got out of there, and we'll go ahead and disassemble this more and then blow some air or brake clean or something through it. Make sure that it's totally clean before we put it back. But that definitely will keep you from running right there. Well, I can't seem to find my air nozzle, so I guess we'll just use some spray here. Try to get it down in there. Can't even really find the spray I want either, but it'll work. As long as it comes out of there, that's what we're after. I think we're pretty good. Doesn't look like there's anything left in there, because you can see that or not, but if I stick something down in there, it goes all the way through and no trash is coming out, so we're gonna go with it. I think we'll be fine. I've been wrong before though, so it wouldn't be any fun if I didn't get to do this 4 or 5 more times. So there have been occasions, because I'm sure people will ask about this, where I have put stand pipes in these, but it seems to me that you just need to get your tank clean as best you can, because the standpipe thing is not that great a solution either. You know, in that case, what I'm talking about is you put an end of pipe in the end of here, and then it raises the level of where it draws fuel from. So in other words, you'll have, you know, this much fuel left in the tank all the time instead of drawing from the very bottom. And in theory, it won't, your trash won't go down into the neck, but I've had mixed results with that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I do know that you need to make sure you get a long enough one if you do it, but then again, you're wasting that much more fuel that you never get to use. So I don't know. I just like to try to get the tank clean, and even if I have to clean this sediment bowl out a few times, usually after a while they eventually get over it. But tractors that have been sitting a long time, like this 770 was before I got it, those are the ones that seem to have the problems. They just jar rust loose, and then it keeps plugging up this neck. But eventually it will get over it, and then your life will be great. So our next order of business is to start reassembly, and we need to put in the fuel shut off again. And I always like to put a little bit of thread tape around the threads, so we'll put new on instead of just keep using the old. And if you've never used this, I like to wind it on there in the way that you're going to turn the threads, so that it's trying to pull it into the threads instead of unraveling it all the time. So you'll learn that if you do anything with pipe thread enough. And I also try to make sure that I don't have any of the tape where it's going to get sucked into the fuel system, because Teflon tape will do a pretty good job of plugging things up too. So use it sparingly, I suppose, is my advice. So the trick is to make it not leak when it's tight. So putting the tape on there takes care of the threads in here. The other place it can leak is in the stem of this valve. And if that's the case, then you just tighten this jam nut, and then it will stop that. But if you do too much, then you won't be able to turn this, and then you kind of defeat your purpose of having a shut off. So you need to adjust accordingly based on how it feels. Now we'll put some new tape on here, and then we'll try to swap out again without making a huge mess. Make sure when you do this too that you have the fuel shut off when you put it back in, or it'll just start pouring out of there, and then you'll have a big mess too. So, you know, I usually put it in like this and put the bowl on after, so that I have enough room to get my hand up in there. It just helps. You got more room that way. But anyway, we'll get this put back in, and hopefully we'll have a runner again. Got it started. Made a little bit more of a mess that time than taking it out, but hey, gas is cheap, right? So we'll get this tightened, which these things are so soft that you can't get a lot of pull on them. You need to help them with your hand, and Get them turned in there where your fuel line will match up. And we're probably about there. We'll wipe it off a little bit and see if it leaks while we're working on it. Try to dry it up a little bit. It shouldn't leak, but you never know. Better get my other wrench on there to hold that tight so it doesn't try to pull it away. Get a shorter one. There we go. Now, you have your screen you have to put back up in there. So we need to do that. And then we have our gasket. We'll put that in. I have better luck with these type of gaskets more than the cork. I don't know. The cork just disintegrates. Some people will probably think that's crazy, but I actually buy some of these that are just a shade thicker than the originals, and that helps if you have one that you can't get to stop leaking. So that's something you can do if you have that problem. And our bowl is next, and I should have cleaned it out good before I started. I'm trying to do it one-handed now and hold the gasket up in there. Okay, I got that in there. And then we'll put our bail on to hold the sediment bowl on. I'll try to get it with one hand here. And turn the fuel on. I can do it in here with the camera sitting there. And then we'll let it fill, and then I'll tighten it up because it's got to get air, but it's running in good and fast, so I would say we are in good shape. We'll make sure it doesn't leak when I have it all the way on. Because of the way this one's made with the power booster, I usually leave the fuel on here, and the guy before me put a shut-off in just before the carburetor, so I've been doing that, and that seems to help it too, because this aftermarket carburetor cannot be trusted. Sometimes it overflows, so I just do that, and I've had pretty good luck. So it doesn't look like we have any leaks, so let's go ahead and try to start it up and see what we got here. See if it'll run for more than 30 seconds, because that's the way it was before. When it gets this way, it'll run until it empties the bowl of the carburetor, and then it'll die, and then if you wait a minute, it'll fill up enough again that you can start it up, but then it'll just keep dying. So we'll give it a try here and see what we got. Safety first. It's been sitting a while. Might have to let it fill up for a minute, because when I drove it in here, it was just barely able to make it in under its own power. I had the choke all the way out because it was running dry, so we'll give it a try again. we've got it made. I think that took care of our problem. I'll probably go ahead and leave it run while I put the sheet metal back on, and then it'll be ready to use again, which is great because I really love this tractor for moving trailers and stuff, and it's just very handy with this power traction hitch. So it's a little project that didn't take that much time, but I just haven't had time to get to it. So we'll put the sheet metal back on and move on to our next thing. So there we have 1770 back in the game here, and hopefully it'll be ready to go again next time I need it. So we'll move on to our next thing now. I also should mention that I got my couplers finished, hooked up to this bracket that I talked about in that other video, and I talked to this guy and he is going to sell them through Corvez. So if you want one of these, be checking with them, because he's supposed to sell them to Corvez, and then Corvez will sell them to the public. So if you want one of those, check that out, because I think it turned out pretty good. So anyway, we'll move on to our next project. Well, our next thing, turns out, is going to be some cow attention, because they heard that tractor running and then they all started running over here and mooing at me. They went out on the cornfield again. I used to use that 770 last year on the little feed wagon when I'd feed them. So now they recognize the sound of that motor as one of the things that brings them food. So anyway, we'll just walk out here and turn them loose. You think they would eventually get full, but it seems like they have a never-ending appetite. Go out there, do your cleanup work. I checked the temporary fence the other day and it was still up, so hopefully it is today and they don't go farther than they're supposed to.